The thought of buying a foreclosure is very intriguing. A bank-owned house, a distressed property, and it doesn't matter if you're a novice investor, you've been investing for years, you're a first-time investor, or if you're just looking to purchase your own personal home as your personal residence. I'm going to share with you exactly what to look for if you're just driving around, you're looking around, websites to go to, what to say, how to say it, when to say it, and who to say it to. So let's take a look around this house, and I'm going to share with you the big mistakes that people make and how to find the gold when it comes to real estate. Now, one of the things you'll want to do is drive for dollars. It's a term that I learned years ago. My name is Wayne Turner. I've been brokering, selling, flipping, done just about everything when it comes to real estate for nearly 30 years now. But if you're out riding around, you're going to look for this. This is a sign that this house is in fact a foreclosure. When you're riding around, you see these white papers, because what happens is once they serve the papers, once the bank takes the property back, they put these papers in the window to inform anybody, subcontractors, buyers, sellers, whoever may be, that this home is now owned by the bank. Now, it's important to know that there are different types of foreclosures. Not all foreclosures are the same. This house right here beside me, this home is an actual HUD foreclosure. That means that the owner of the property had an FHA loan. So with an FHA loan, it's a HUD foreclosure. So here's what happens. When they foreclose on these properties and they place them on the market for sale, even if they don't place them on the market for sale, they're only going to allow people to purchase these houses that are going to live in the houses. So that's really important to know. If you're an investor, you're looking to buy and flip or buy and hold, there's a 30-day owner-occupied buyer period, if you will. So if you're an investor, you need to be made aware of that. If you're a private homeowner that's going to buy this house to fix it up, repair it, and live in it, it's a good thing for you because you got 30 days grace, if you will, where you're not competing with investors. Now, one of the best places to find these is go to findmyforeclosure.com. Findmyforeclosure.com. That's a website that you go to. Doesn't matter what city, state, county, parish you live in. You can click a couple of buttons and you can actually see bankruptcies, tax liens, short sales, foreclosures, pre-foreclosures, all that stuff right there on one site. It's really cool. And that's the best way in terms of absolutely knowing. You get property addresses and everything, and actually what the value of that property is. So you kind of know going in when you start to looking. Like this house right here is in Slidell, Louisiana. This is a 1,697 square foot house, 3-bedroom, 2 full bath. Really cool little property, right? All brick. It's in distress, it's like a time warp. I'm going to show you here in just a second. It needs carpet, paint, new kitchen, new baths, all that. But you are on the water, which is pretty cool because you got your own boat slip, you're on the water, and you're literally a 5-minute drive from Lake Pontchartrain, and you're just about a 25-30 minute boat ride to the Gulf of Mexico. And of course, you always hear me say you make your money when you buy, and you can look over my shoulder and see there's $1 million homes literally across the water there, and they're asking $213,000 for this one. Now, this property fixed up is worth about $325 if you fixed everything up on this property. But absolutely, you make your money when you buy. It's got brick, but the windows are busted. It smells like smoke and it's just filthy. It needs to be cleaned up. But for the most part, it doesn't need a whole lot of work. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, Wayne, that's relative. Maybe not for you, but for me, I don't want to tackle that. And that's quite all right. Always walk around the outside of every property. Just know that the utilities aren't turned on this property. So I always tell people, oftentimes they'll pull the electrical meter, so you won't have a meter on the outside of the house. So if you ride past a house and it's vacant, the grass is high, there's a white piece of paper in the window, or if there's an electrical meter missing on the property, chances are that's a bank-owned home. Now, another thing to look for is the actual property. So this is an actual lot. There's a house. This is the house. This house for sale for $213,000 is actually on a double lot. So you could actually purchase this property for cash, and this has been done, purchase this property for cash, sell that lot off for $50,000 and rehab this house. You've got a lot that you just sold, you rehab this house, you make money on the lot, you make money on the house. There's gold in real estate, I'm telling you. Let's take a look on the inside. So as you walk through these properties, as I'd mentioned, the electricity is never on. You can have it turned on. There's a meter out there. You can have it turned on. Most electrical companies will turn on the electricity for you for your due diligence period, to do your home inspection. It's very inexpensive to do, but just know that. And know that when you buy a property that's any kind of distress situation, foreclosure, bank owned, you're not necessarily buying it as is, per se, to lose your earnest money deposit. So you're going to put a deposit anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 to $10,000, whatever the bank requested and required. They own the asset, the house, and they can ask for whatever they want. Once you pay that money down and you make an offer on the property, you can then do a home inspection. Once you do your home inspection, if there's anything wrong with the property, anything broken, not working to its intended function that you're uncomfortable with, then quite simply you can cancel the contract and you get your earnest money deposit back. You go on about your business and look for the next house. Two things that you really need to know that's really important to know is, one, how much is it going to cost to improve the property? How much is it going to cost to fix it up? Does it need a roof, central heat and air, water heater? Does it need new appliances, paint, carpet, all of that stuff? So you kind of have to know how much it's going to cost you to make those improvements. And then after you make the improvements, you need to know what the value of that property is. You do that through an appraisal, or you can also do that by just having a good real estate agent where you can tell them, hey, I'm going to make all these improvements. Can you show me some comparable properties that have sold within the last 6 months within a 3-mile radius, just like what a real estate appraiser is going to do. They'll typically do it for free if you tell them, hey, I'd like to get you to help me sell the property. What would it be worth after I purchase it? And they can tell you a roundabout figure, what's going to be 142, 178, 210, whatever it's going to be per square foot. That way you know where to put the money in, where not to put the money in, most importantly, the profit that you're going to make. Now, oftentimes people say, well, Wayne, I don't have the cash to buy one of these properties. You don't have to have cash. It's great if you have cash, but you can be approved for a loan through your local bank or credit union, and you can make up the difference. And the difference comes from a home equity line of credit if you have in your current home. So for example, the bank's going to have the property that you're wanting to purchase appraised, and they're going to loan you 70 to 80% of the appraised value. And typically the appraised value is exactly what you're buying it for. So the other comes from the equity line of credit that you have in your personal home. So you make up the difference, you close on the house. Now, oftentimes you don't want to use all that equity line because you want to reserve some for actual fix-up cost. Now, it's important to know that if you have cash, they're going to require any bank, and I think any homeowner should, when you really think about it. You put yourself in a seller's shoes, somebody comes and looks at your property, they say, I want to buy it. You want to see proof of funds. I mean, homeowners ask me all the time, Wayne, are they approved? I'm like, yep, here's an approval letter. You want to see, because you don't want to get your hopes up. You don't want to go through the whole process. You got to make sure you're approved. Same goes if you're paying cash. They just simply want to see proof of funds. So don't get offended if the bank or anybody for that matter selling a property says, I know you're telling me you can pay cash and close in 3 weeks, but we just need to see that you actually have the money that you say you have. Now, here's the deal. It doesn't matter if you're going to buy this house to flip it, buy this house to sell it. You need to know what the homeowner's insurance is going to be on the property, not just for your sake, but the future's buyer's sake. Because if you're on the water, you've got to pay flood insurance. It's required. The flood zone that's right here where this is flood zone A. A mortgage company is not going to give you a loan on this property without you having flood insurance, and that flood insurance can run you thousands of dollars. So you got to know that when you buy the property, what it's going to cost you out of pocket, also what it's going to cost a new buyer, because that can push a buyer completely out of the realm of buying this property, because next thing you know, they've got high cost of insurance, high cost of flood insurance, and it eats away at the sales price of your house. And this is what I mean by that. A quick story. We had a customer that was looking for a house, and they were looking at a $250,000 house, and then they looked at a $325,000 house, and we said the payment on the $325,000 is going to be less than the $250,000. They were like, how is that? I said, because you're going to have flood insurance on the $250,000. Have to have flood insurance on the $250,000 because it was in flood zone A. And then when you have a property that's not in flood zone A, it's in B or C, flood insurance is not required. So you don't have to have it. Of course, I wouldn't live around the water without it. But if you have B or C, it's substantially less, which means your payment is substantially less. So it's always important to look at what's it total cost on a monthly payment, not just for you buying a foreclosure or distressed property, but the buyer in the future that's going to be buying it from you. Because as I mentioned, it eats away at how much home they can actually afford, and that eats away at your sales price. Now, I hope you like this video. If there's anything we can do, reach out to us. You can go to contactwayne.com. You can book a call with me. We'll be glad to meet with you, talk with you, get you connected with an agent, a lender anywhere around the country. And you can also go to findmyforeclosure.com, where you will find every single foreclosure in your hometown.